Okay. Topic of discussion is representatives from the RDC would like to discuss annexation and economic development of the areas southeast of Danville.
Mr. President, as Ben makes his way up here, a lot of this has been ongoing for almost a year, I would guess. We had a property owner approach us approximately a year ago, wouldn't it, Lisa? And make inquiries. In looking at the property that we believe that was being discussed, we believe it is quite honestly only fit for commercial, light industrial, no residential. It's too close to an airport, a landfill, asphalt plant, concrete plant, and a recycling plant. So that's where this all kind of started from. We had a citizen at Plan Commission that had advised us that if we were going to approve 400 acres of residential, we needed to be looking at 400 acres of commercial development. And we think this fits that statement. So I'll turn it over to Ben. Yep, we got it.
Hi. Good evening. Good evening. Ben Comer from your RDC. Linda Monk, who's also on the RDC. Mr. Van Leer is one of your representatives on the RDC. So we have been analyzing pieces, parts, pockets of town that could serve as economic areas, economic development areas, help our tax base, bring jobs, increase quality of life. And we as a group are certain that this particular area between 400 East and Cartersburg Road, for lack of a better defining spot, would serve us very well. Okay. To begin proactive measures to help make this happen, not just leave it to market factors, but attempt to be proactive about it. That can mean a few different things. One is getting sewer and water out to that area. Secondly, talk to some of the landowners about annexation, about proactively coming into the town limits. Eventually, it will have to be in the town eventually to develop, because we're going to provide the utilities. There's really where else they're going to get utilities. So eventually, someday, all that land will be in the town so it can develop. And so we would like to start taking a selective, proactive approach at doing that. We've looked at the map. We've created a list of all the tax parcel numbers and the owners that we thought would be in the project area. Some are more high priority than others in the more, the northern end of this. But certainly all of them are on the list. And I don't know that we've ever, as a town, been proactive about annexation, about going to our neighbors and saying, hey, what do you think about coming into the town, and what that really looks like. And I want to make it clear, this is not a forceful type situation that we have even thought about. It is merely a super voluntary, that if they would want to, type of situation. So it's not aggressive in the sense that, hey, you are coming in. It would be more of, here's the incentives to come in. So we have the list. We've talked at length about how to do that, and just wanted to keep you up to speed, get your blessing or thoughts on how the best way to handle those sensitive conversations, so we can keep moving forward on creating this economic development area that would be beneficial to everyone, including the landowners. Be able to sell their land at at a higher price, than farmland. So those are our thoughts, and we do believe it's a kind of a higher industrial type use. I mean, it's a very unique area with the airport, the landfill. Those are two high intensity features, and so it lends itself more to the industrial nature, I believe, or some of the heavier commercial, especially with the railroad track running along the North Line. I don't see retail there for that reason. Just the stacking, the waiting on trains, that kind of thing, I think would prevent retail in that area. But hey, if we can find a way, I'm certainly not opposed to that. So yeah, the utilities is the other thing that we need to start planning for and thinking about. Linda, have I left anything out? Talked about it here? So as it relates to, we have a lot of ideas in different areas of town, but I think that wraps up this, what I would call the airport district discussions. That's on your agenda for discussion. So we're all ears. Would like to have an open discussion about it and just get some direction from you. Anything, just a nod of approval that we're going in the right direction. What would you like to see happen?
Is that 400 acres right next to the airport and right up against the railroad tracks? Is that where they wanted to build that car manufacturer?
Don't know.
Would have been the Hendricks County Economic Development Partnership. And
Yeah.
they were actually looking on the opposite side, if I'm not mistaken, where they lease over by the, they were looking at 400 East.
You just triggered another thought of mine that I want to add to the discussion. And I'm no expert on recruiting business, and all the incentives and the economic development that comes with that. But what I do know about it is this, is that companies that are looking to locate have a checklist of things they need to consider us on their list of potential places to come. And utilities right out of the gate is one of them. And they all need utilities. So even if they're looking at this land and they find out that there's no utilities, we're going to be marked off the list immediately. So in order to make this quote unquote shovel ready, having it annexed and having utilities available will keep us at least on the radar longer, keep us on their list longer before, as they make cuts and they narrow down their locations. So I do think this area in our town has a lot to offer to them, but it's just a non-starter without utilities available. So.
I have something, and I was taking notes, so if you said this, I apologize. You talked about how to approach the property owners. Did you have some ideas along those lines, or is that kind of what you're in the process of trying to figure out?
So we have a list of names, and it's either, our ideas are Mark and Lisa as town staff reaching out for informal, requesting an informal sit-down to have the conversation, or if members of the RDC have personal relationships with some of those landowners, that could also be a potential way to approach them for just a conversation.
I have at least one more. So I think it's a great idea to have, more of that commercial opportunity out on the east side there. Obviously, we're adding a lot of new residential units in town over the next 10 years. Getting utilities out there and things of that nature, I guess, and maybe we're way too early in the conversation for this, but do we have that capacity? I assume you're saying we need to get the utilities out there before we can really actively market the area. Have we looked into what the utility capacity is as of today and what we expect it to be over the next few years? Because this is clearly a multi-year project to get
For
folks
sure.
in.
Yeah,
So
for sure. The simple answer is no. we haven't addressed that, but I'm guessing there's somebody in the audience that might be able to help us out.
Maybe so. Yes, come on.
Elliott with Banning Engineering. As you're aware, we did a master plan back in 2018. And we looked at this area. We looked at two different things. One was a 20-year growth. We also looked at a geographical growth, basically of servicing all of Center Township. So one of these areas that we focused on was this particular area south of 36, east of Cartersburg Road. The good thing is we do have two 12-inch lines, one across 300 East and one across 200 East for water main. So we have capacity that's right there readily available. Depending on what we have there may incur a water tank possibly at that area. But the other thing we need to look at is Twin Bridges Road. One of the things we need to do is upsize the sewer capacity in that line. We actually, when we did the master plan, we did a hydraulic model of that area. So we have those areas specifically talked about in our master plan, what would need to be upgraded to service that area. Water is kind of I want to say, lack of a better term, easy fix. Sewer, we'll have to run new sewer line, and it depends on what goes there and where and what location. You can service that area in about 20 different ways. The good news is we do have sewer there, but we do need to upsize the sewer line that gets to that particular area. So once we find out what the anchor company is out in that area, that's going to dictate kind of what we do for planning for that future growth. So long story short, we have water there. Sewer is there at a minimal capacity, but we do need to beef that up. And we've addressed that into the master plan, and we have the hydraulic model. If we decide we want to put X there, we can put that in and see what we need to do to expand that area.
I've got a question. What kind of system is available at the airport?
As far as water or wastewater?
Both.
Well, we have water that actually services the airport right now. That 12-inch line goes to the entrance of the airport. So they have a 12-inch water main that's at their front door.
Okay.
And so they are provided water by the town right now. Wastewater, they do not have our wastewater at this time. So they have a septic system at this point.
Okay.
Any other questions at this time? Thank you.
So it sounds like sewer is going to be our bigger challenge. We could probably market the water right now that it's available, it sounds like, which is great. One of the other things we've been talking about is this road right here, possibly moving it. Nice. Thanks, Ed. This isn't hard at all. Moving it to make this a connection, vacating this, working with the airport to make this more, obviously through, and this could then become, it's less about the development of this area as much as it is just making this a through street. Which would make sense, and the airport very well may work with us on that, and that would be great.
Well, this sounds like a familiar discussion. Is this possibly part of the solution too for the traffic through town? Okay, that's what I thought.
So we think that would dovetail nicely into the development of this whole sector. That's it in concept, and we're love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you.
You.
They move forward, right? Consensus? Yeah. No, I'm just saying, I think this is a good idea.
Oh, okay.
Pursue that.
Yeah. That's about it. Motion to close.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting's closed. See you back at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Ben.
And